Hello everybody, welcome to the Stay-at-Home Mom Guide. My name is Jamie, the founder and your host for this episode of Mom Motivation Mondays. Every Monday we dive into parenting topics that support you in the trenches of motherhood. Today's topic is 6 tips for teaching kids money management. Not an easy topic to discuss, but after this you'll feel more comfortable teaching your children about money. Teaching children money management is one of the great skills I learned from my parents. Lessons such as how much money it takes to buy certain things, how to set up a budget, being mindful that what goes out, what we spend, cannot exceed what comes in, and self-esteem from inside, not from accumulating stuff on the outside. These are linked but separate skills that can be taught to our children while they're young without needing a degree in finance or any degree at all. Here are 6 tips for teaching your children about money, budgeting, and that while love is free, stuff is not. First, discuss money and income. My parents often discussed their income and money in general at the dinner table. Not all the time, but just in passing. It was conversations between my mom and dad, my brother and I. We just happened to be there too. Family dinner conversations can instigate a lot of life skill learning. My parents didn't talk about their income to brag or overly stress about it. It was more about what they were planning to buy and if the budget allowed it. We did not need to schedule a family meeting to talk about things because most nights we had one while we were eating together, just casually. It was natural, it's just what we did. My brother and I asked questions to chime into the conversation and were respected and trusted enough to be given the answers to questions we had. Like, how much money do you make? What does a car cost? Why can't we get a toy when we go to the store every time? These are all questions we as parents should be answering honestly, not with cute, quick, happy answers. The truth is that nothing is free. Everything costs something, and kids need to grow up knowing that. Second, don't buy new toys every time you go to the store with your child. I rarely buy my children toys or other items when we are running errands. Teaching children money management skills has to begin with the idea that just because you want something does not mean you can always get it. We have had tantrum fests in the middle of Target because I put no on repeat. I'm not saying that we never let them pick something out, but we're mindful of when we last did allow them to pick something and how close we are to a holiday or birthday where they will be receiving gifts. Not to mention the greater point of what the excess funds look like at the time. Can we even afford it? What's coming up next month? What do we need to be able to afford then? My son used to often see something he thought he could not live without, and we ended up doing the no on repeat leads to tantrum scenario in the toy aisle. But he's learned that money is required to buy things. Now, as a teenager, he saves more money than he spends. So all those tantrums from me sticking to my budget resulted in lessons learned. The third point I want to make is that assigning your child chores at appropriate ages is a really positive life skill and learning experience. After my son started asking questions about money and asking about buying things at the store, my husband and I decided to start giving him chores and paying him once a week for doing them. He was around 3 at the time, and I know that age is going to shock you a bit, but hear me out. You can start teaching children to do chores and see the benefit of doing them at preschool age. My son started feeding the dog once a day, and by doing that, he earned $1 a week. So he fed the dog every morning, and he got $1 at the end of the week, and this was around 3.5 years old. It started with him asking about money and wanting toys, and so we were looking for a way to help encourage him to see that money buys things, that we don't all get things for free. And also, I was pregnant with our second child, so I wanted my son to know how to feed the dog in case I was tied up with the baby and I could just ask him quickly, go, put the scoops of food in her bowl. Teaching my son to feel good about helping around the house was not a burden. It was a win-win for both of us. We ramped up his duties as he got older so that he experienced increased responsibility and increased ability to earn more money and save more money. Each year we would add a chore and an additional $1 a week to help him see the value in earning and helping around the house. He still had to do things like cleaning up his toys before bed or helping out around the house in other ways where he didn't receive payment for doing them. He got verbal thanks and praise if he did a good job, but he didn't get paid for every little thing that he did. I wanted him to develop the idea that helping will not always earn money, but it would still impact us in a positive way. And I want him to help even if he is not being paid to do it. Fourth tip is set up a savings account for your child very early on. So at birth, we had an account set up, just a simple savings account, so that money, gifts, and our additional savings for his future had a place to go. My son is already learning that work, when completed well, can equal pay, and pay gets saved first. Have you ever heard the line, pay yourself first? It's a very important financial tip. We did not start allowing him to use his allowance money to buy things he wanted right away. We still kind of limited it to birthdays, Christmas, or here and there. But around 6 years old, when he could start to understand counting and the value of money, we did start a little bit more financial education. We taught him about donating 10% of what he had earned and saving 10%, the pay yourself first. So around 5 or 6 years old, we started letting him buy things that he would want with his money when he had saved up enough. When I pay him weekly, I would take 10% of the income and just put it in an envelope marked donations. The rest he would keep in his wallet or his bank in his room. Then when we went to church on Sunday, they could put their offering money in the offering plate and participate that way and realize that that is an important consideration too. So these percentages came from their money, not extra paid out by us. The rest they could save in a wallet, like I said, to use when they want to go to the store and buy a toy or a new item they've been saving for. Fifth point, don't be afraid to answer your child's questions about money. When they're in elementary school, around 10 or so years old, they may be trustworthy enough to know what your household earns. Teaching children money management has to be based in reality with real numbers to compare and learn from. My parents always mentioned to us, you don't need to tell anyone. It's not their business. It's only for us in the family to know, because they wanted us to live with manners and not just be blurting this personal information out to anyone we might meet. I think that's a fair lesson to teach as well. Discretion, certain things are just discussed at home. You can't guarantee that they will always remember what you teach, but it is better to teach and not need, rather than not teach and have your child miss out on a lesson. 6, be a good example. Isn't this true in all areas of parenting? Of course, lessons on money and frugality must be modeled by us, the parents, in order for the full effect to stick with our children. We're not merely raising children. We are educating future adults. The lessons we show and teach now will benefit our children because they will have the knowledge necessary to meet the demands of life. We will leave them grasping for easy answers and latching onto peer pressure if we do not teach when we have the chance while they're young. One of the most important lessons we will teach our children is teaching children about money and how to budget. It's nice to have nice things, but it is only nice when the price for them can be paid for. That is a huge life lesson that does get missed. Love is easy to give and does not cost a dime, but many things in life do cost dollars and cents, and we should teach our children that vital lesson. In the video description, I linked a free budget template that you can download and use to make your household budget so that you can start being budget conscious while you're teaching your children the same thing. When your children are in high school, they can learn how to start using a budget for their spending and saving goals. I use the same template to teach my kids how to set up a budget. It is easy to customize. Teaching children money management skills is very simple with these 6 tips for parenting children and teaching them to be responsible with money. To read the full blog post with the 6 tips for teaching money management, get access to the free budget download, all you have to do is click the link in the video description to read more and access that. Thank you for being here. Click like and subscribe so you don't miss an episode of Mom Motivation Mondays here on the Stay at Home Mom Guide. See you next time.